Everybody say, holy, holy, holy is our God. Holy, holy, holy is our God. Take back what the devil and rejoice. Everybody say Jesus, 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 Jesus is our God. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus is our God. Everybody say, I
Open the harvest. God promises. Hey, good morning. I'm just settling myself. How is everybody today? It's such a beautiful day, though. We had a lot of rain. We had a lot of this. We had a lot of that. And hopefully, we'll have a lot of other things happening with us. So today we're talking about things that concerns each and every one of us as human beings and my nation, the African nation, and our treatment. And this is the background to something I think Brother John said he will speak on it on the weekend, which will be a more in-depth conversation where more people can come in and realize that as a people, we need to wake up. We need to understand that we're not taken for granted, and we should not be allowed, to be taken that way. And we tend to be so docile, so complacent, so, anything else I can think of. Minister Merle is en route. She's traveling right now, so I don't know if she was able to come on and based on her travels. And sometimes with air travel, you might be able to get out, but depending on how high you're out flying, how bad is the weather, and we're not doesn't have great weather. Many things can change. Okay, so we wish her all the best, safe journeys as she travels, and also to welcome the day, the 21st day of July. Isn't the month going by fast? Yes, it is. Today we're talking about the Baal HaZava. It's a tester of the the new covenant. We have this new covenant with God in Hebrews in chapter 9, verses 16 and 17. It says, for where there is a last will and testament involved, the death of the one who made it must be established. For a will and testament is valid and takes effect only at death, since it has no force or legal power as long as the one who made it is alive. And the reason I read this and it resonated with what I want to talk with. I think the last will and testament of our people has gone and read since our ancestors were gone. It is time for us to have that legal power. It's time for us to have that legal power from that will and testament that was given to us. We were given our freedom in the 1619. Thereabouts we came around 1619, and by the 1800s we were already emancipated. We were freed. So therefore, since that will was made and gone, it is time that the world around us that benefited so much from us and our through our ancestors, they need to stop. They need to stop. They need to realize that these are the children of Most High God. They were taken. We were very quiet about it. People went because they had no choice. And today, we are no longer enslaved. And if anybody ever call you a slave, just tell them, no, I'm not a slave. I've been enslaved forcefully by ruthless people who were lazy, who were so lazy that they couldn't get themselves to work and get their own to work. They look for people to make life easier for them. Without remuneration, there was no payment or anything that went with it. So today I'm looking at buses coming into Toronto, in front of a shelter in downtown Toronto. And they're telling people of African descent to come off the bus and wait here. Meanwhile, that shelter is closed because they don't want to have to attend to them. We recently had Ukrainians coming in. We recently had people coming from other parts of the Middle East. Were they dropped off in front of a shelter? No. And why is that? Because of all the wickedness of the wicked on the pipeline coming down, trying to keep a people down. When 90% of the things that people use today, do today, historically today, invented by us. So it's time we open our mouths and stop shushing among each other and start saying, hey, my human rights has been violated. We have rights. And and as I said that, let me grab my human rights book. Oh, I'm taking my time today. I got up this morning feeling miserable. I guess the weather, because it rained last night. We don't know what kind of rain, what's in the rain, what's in the food, what's in anything. We don't even know what's in the cell, but that's how it is. So under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, okay, I think it's Article 13 freely says, everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. Everyone has a right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country, okay? No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference. And you know what? Everyone has the right in Article 14, it says, to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. So this right may not be invoked in the case of prosecutions genuinely arising from non-political crimes or from acts contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. So we do have 33 articles, okay? I am a human rights consultant. I'm an accredited one. You can go on LinkedIn, you'd find my accreditations. They're all there. I think it's on a couple other things. I'm not even sure where I put it, but anyway, apart from that, I can speak for myself. Let's put it this way. I can articulate very well with the mouth and the thoughts of life. So when we have all these issues going on around us, why are we sitting on little platforms all over the internet and the social media and talking? But I'm not hearing of anyone. And the reason I'm saying this, I'm not hearing of anyone calling up and saying to the seniors liberals, to the Women's Commission, to their MPs, their MPPs and councillors, where are the groups that will get together and ask questions? And I don't want to hear it just happen, because everybody else, when something happened, they act upon it immediately. With us, we are laissez-faire, you know, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow, maybe later, not right now, you know. It's right now, okay? It is right now. This is an urgent situation. And today I want to thank the JCA. They had I think it's the Young Hip Hop guys. They had something last night. One of my girls that I read up, daughter from another mother type of thing. She called me to let me know that they were collecting food items and toiletries, etc., and they were taking it to the JCA so that they can sell it up to the church. Now, we have to give revival time on Dufferin Street, and from the late Pastor James, his church children who are running the church now and with the others in the community, they have decided to take them in. Isn't God amazing? Do you know the benefit and the blessing that will come to revival time? I was trying to get someone to speak with them on this issue, but I couldn't find anyone. But hopefully by the time tomorrow comes along, when Brother John is going to speak further on this topic, we would have some sort of connection with someone that we can, discuss a little further. Because this is ludicrous. It is ridiculous in the 21st century that people, governments will sit. I know Olivia Chawa or new mayor has already made a statement of intervention to get funding already so that there can be help. So we give thanks for that, and we thank her, we bless her that she continued to be on a level playing field with humanity. Because you know what? We all have to answer for God's children. It does not matter whether I'm black, white, Chinese, Indian, whatever nation you come from, Russian, Ukrainian, whatever color you are, whether your skin is white, yellow, blue, green, whatever, guess what? We all have to answer. Not to the prime ministers. We all have to answer to God, because they too have to answer. And I pray God that you all have the right answer. Because in this time, look at what's happening in the world, our weather, our this, our that. Do we not see signs and understand what they mean? Does governments have someone who is of a spiritual nature, knowing what it's really truly about? Not idol worshiping person, but someone who knows God, working alongside them. We all need that. You need that backing, because then you will slip and fall, God's faith is a supernatural source of life. It's a supernatural life source. So those who believe in God, remember your faith is important. It's a life source, and it's not natural, it's supernatural. So today, let's talk about what's going on. The prisons are filled. Who's working on the prisons? You know what? It's one thing to go and say, I do prison ministry and I was prison. Why are we not talking about how do we get out of there, our children, in terms of finding out what the issues are and doing something about them reintegrating into society? I created a program about 20, 30 years ago. For that purpose, it was taken up by the parole office, because I used to work with them, doing different things. People are being reintegrated in society. I write a letter, after having a consultation with them. So I did consultants work long before I was even doing it, taking courses towards it, because, we're all consultants. We're all what we think we can be, because we have our God-given brain. He's the ultimate professor beyond. There's no words to describe him. He's infinite. So as we continue on this topic, I want to say to the young Black kids around, please watch the world, how they're treating you. Watch the companies, how they're treating you. They have DEI, but you know what? what I observed from my time, in 1992, 91, 92, I became one of the province's employment equity counselors, and it was for equity in employment, etc. And do you know what happened? A lot of the people that came from the Ukraine and other places, they were complaining that they had equity issues as well. So they will bombard the offices. I am yet to see one Black person, because we have so much false pride that we don't like going for help because we know it all and we would like to do it in secret because, yeah. Well, you know what? You take your secrets and you go to God and tell him, I need you to direct me to the office where I need to go to get what I need to get. That's where the secret comes in. Other than that, you need to wake up and realize shooing behind the bush doesn't make no sense, because that's all it does, make a noise behind the bush. And at the end of the day, when you move from behind the bush will shake its sleeve and say, you know what, did she not realize, or he not realize, I'm not the one they should be coming to? Okay, it's like the burning bush. You can't go behind the burning bush and get results unless you are given that okay, that handle. So what are we doing with ourselves? If we learn to hear things and utilize what we hear effectively, positively, to help the person that came to you, that's when we're doing right. But we have the masses ideologies. We got God's brain, intuition, but we have the generational enslavement attitudes that gossip is more important than doing something positive with information. We look at people. You buy stuff. Oh, you're spending too much money. Is that your money I'm spending? No. You go places. Why you have to go to so many places? Is it your money I'm spending? God bless me with the money and I can do what I have to do with it or want to do with it. He didn't tell me, he didn't give me instructions, but I know I will spend positively, equitably, and graciously. Okay? So we have to wake up as a people and realize that when one child is having a problem in Pickering, everybody around Ontario should be part of that. Stand up for your brothers and sisters. Stand up for your people. Don't say, well, my kids and us. Oh no, those things are not happening to my children. No, that's not what it's all about. Families, community. That is why all of my organizations have something to do with togetherness. My initial group is Affinity Youth Interlink Network Foundation. And guess what? AYINF spent a lot of time with kids in schools in Scarborough, making sure that they go to school there, that our neighborhood watches were done well. Our Saturdays were spent well, equitably. Reminded them how important it is to have an education. You know how many of our young men running around with guns and stuff, they can't even read, illiterate. Literacy is running high in the 21st century among our people. Why is that? And half of them would not come up and say they can't read, but they'll ask you to read something for them. What are you doing about that? And that's what I'm saying. The crisis of the African refugees in Toronto, which involves the province and involves the country, Canada, is not a nice looking one. We have so many people that are in immigration that are Black, we have so many people that are in different positions where we love the like my godmother used to say, they love the gallery. Oh, yes. Here am I. There am I. What are you, what have you accomplished? And that's important. That's where you want to go. Your accomplishments. I don't want to see them. I don't want to know of them. I want to hear that these things were accomplished. And at the end of the day, when the time is right, we hear who accomplished them. Who was the one that established this issue? Come July 29th, it's the Emancipation Celebration, and that's taking place at 255 Spadina Road in Toronto. And that's with Rosemary Sadler. She's a Canadian of many generations, founding generations of this country. And the Black History Month, it was created. She championed that as well, you know. So, you know, these are the things. But we have to support. We want to do business with people. We have to support them in order to do business down the road. Okay, that's how it is, you know. So let's go back to our refugees, our people. Are you drinking a cup of tea without thinking about them? Are you having a bit of water without thinking about them? That's what you need to know. Is your mind telling you, if I were in that state, what would I like someone to do for me? Could you pick up some apples, some oranges, and go up to Dufferin Street, Revival Time, and take a basket of stuff for them? I have things I'd like to give to them as well. I spoke to someone yesterday, but she was taking it down to the JCU, so she wasn't coming my way. So anyway, I'll be calling Minister Tex and Minister Olivet and see what they are doing after the program is over, to hear if they've heard of anything and if they gone or are they going, and what they are doing on behalf of GEM-FM. I know Brother John is not feeling very well. He's feeling much better, but you know what? We just keep him in prayer, keep him strong, strengthened, and also we are many around him, and therefore we can help. I am an old senior woman. I'm always willing, as well, you know. I'm not one to running and taking the bus because my knees are bad. I have one knee that's not so good, but I can still get around. It takes time. Okay. So let us talk about our people. We have issues in housing. We have issues in education. We have issues in employment. We have family issues. I have. I don't know about you, but I have. You know, nothing is perfect out here because this is the world we live in. But what are we doing about it? Who knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can work around with you, work around with us and do things? Why are we keeping everything to ourselves in our little basket? You know, I got this little black cloth here, you know, but I have a few things in here, you know. I would give it to you, know, but that's the human spirit that I find in my community of people. We have so much schisms, so much isms. We don't know how to even come and say, you know what? Who can I call? Who can I text? You will send a picture to somebody of somebody else, business, like that. But you wouldn't text when there's an issue. You would search the net and find something that you want to talk about. Where can I find this? Oh, I was trying to search for this and this and this, and I couldn't find it. What is the benefit to you? You understand? Somebody else's business is none of yours. unless it's in the capacity of help, like how we have refugees, how we have children that are running away, how we have children that need a job during the summer. How many people do you know that you could refer them? Johnny is not he's a difficult child, but he needs a job. I know you can be at least firm with him so that he can sort of realize the importance of having a job. These are the things that we are supposed to be doing nowadays as a people. Everything else does not matter. What I gain in life has nothing to do with you, except when I utilize it to ensure that you gain some of it too. You know what I mean? Are we putting our words, our tongues, our minds in the right places at the right time? How many are prayer? Where are the prayer warriors that are praying? I pray that you're praying for them too, for our refugees. Because we seem to forget what our obligation is. We always falter. You know, the word of God is really profound when it talks about humanity. And the Bible didn't talk from the west to the east, you know. It's spoken from the east to the west and from the north. Where our ancestors came from. You understand? The Bible spoke about Egypt today. We need to believe in God, not in Egypt. Yeah, I read it today. Because Egypt is his people. Assyria is the work of his hands, and Israel is his inheritance. So what are we doing? How are we processing? How are we what are the deliverables? What about the young kids? What are we doing? What are we devising? A lot of churches have vacation Bible school. I assume because it was the thing growing up as well as for my children. A lot of people are going to the cottage, to the beaches, to whatever. What are we doing as a people? What are we doing as a people? Do you know that if every single one of us, wherever we are, put $5 and created something, we will all be happy for the rest of our lives. Because I don't want anybody to come up. I'm not saying exactly what it is, but I don't want anybody to say, yes, that's a good idea, I'm going to start it. And next thing you find out that people lost their money. They end up with these things they call pyramids, and the pyramids are still standing. Who built it? None of us. We have the wisdom. But what are we using our wisdom for? So, I don't know. I don't know what to say about God's people, his creation. I don't know what to say about the governments that are put in power. I don't see many of you wanting to go for public office. But then again, I see some of us who are already in public office, and you know what our problem is? We have just you know, it's like having a house with two or three levels, and suddenly there's an elevator in the house, and you forget all the people that you met on the sidewalk. Because you're bigger than the sidewalk, and you pass the sidewalk, and you hide in the sidewalk, and you're heading to the skies like Babylon, you know. You say, let us build towers that will reach to the heavens. And then you forget, and you look over your noses and say, oh, okay. You can't say good morning, you can't do anything because you're up there now. You're driving by, and if your brother is standing in the rain, and you know very well your car is empty, you wouldn't even stop to give them a ride if they need a ride. You didn't even make eye contact, because guess what? You want them to see the vehicle you're driving, but you don't want them to come into your vehicle. Lies. and times. I remember my younger years when I'd stop and say, hey, you want to ride? And I'll tell you a story from that. Speaking of which, God is good. Years ago, myself and a sister, we were going to Saturday service. I think it was Saturday service, yes. It was a Saturday where we go in and we have service with Saturday prayer service. And then after they, clean up the church and stuff. And I said to her, I said, oh my gosh, we're crossing Highway 50. I said, oh my God. I said, Father God, we don't know. I know the nearest gas station is it's almost 10 minutes away. But your God, fill my tank. Or allow what I have to go until we get there. And guess what? It was the most amazing thing that happened. Because while we were going, talking and praying and saying, God, 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 because the car went put. And then that's when I said, no, God, nobody passes here at this time of the evening. We were able to get not only to the gas station, but to the church, which had a gas station even nearer. So we were able to leave Brampton and reach Islington and Steeles and get a gas station up in that neighborhood. Because when God has you in the palm of his hands and you know, and he knows that your faith and trust is deeply enrooted and grounded in him, the impossible becomes possible. Okay? And I give no thanks to my prayers, but to know that God heard my humble mumblings and was able to show me compassion and show me his will and show me what he can do. So he can do all things. He said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Give us the word. Isn't that so? But when God strengthens you, you open your mouth and you do things. So right now, I need you all to be strengthened by God in order to do the things that is needed right now. So that those people that are at revival time will say as refugees, yes, my brothers and sisters came to my aid in a foreign land, in a strange land. Remember Bob Marley saying about when you're in a strange land, you need a brother and a sister to come to you. As a matter of fact, the first guy that came, I don't know, he could be African, but he's also, I think, he's Muslim. And he came and he paid out from his pocket thousands of dollars for these people that are your brother and my brother and sister, and possibly their children that have need, refugees. While the Canadian government took their military vehicles and picked them up directly and brought them to shelter and placed them in very expensive buildings and paid for them. While places like Ukraine that's still having their war got millions and billions of dollars already. When you count the cost of the equipment, the artillery, as well as the financial backings, what about us? What are you saying about it? Are you going to keep your mouth? I don't know. Bow your head in shame. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's something to talk about so that it would not happen again. This is where we need to go. So I'm going to leave it up to somebody out there to put a petition, start a petition with petitions so that this would be rectified. So all of you who are always on social media, jump up and pull up petitions, right? Start your petition. Let us know. Let me know. And it will go around. Not to be noticed, but so that those people who suffered so much will not suffer anymore. And also Those of us who are still waiting for our housing and this and that and the other, that the government keeps staggering the dates, will receive. Are we praying about these things? What are we praying about? What are we calling ourselves? You know, I love to expound. But when the issues out there, and I mean expound on the word, when the issues out there, how could you be expounding without helping? When there are pressing issues in your community, how are you expounding? Is it easier to say, you know what? Oh, I did this for so and so and so and so. But sometimes, and I want to bring up another scenario. It just popped right into my head. When we say we are going to deliver, make no haste in your delivery. Because in delivering things, we sometimes become distracted and do the wrong thing. If I say to you, I need you to drop this here, make sure you drop it before you go anywhere else. Because temptation is a bad thing. Do not be tempted. Because you want to know what's being delivered. You're curious. Please, don't use curiosity. Use generosity. It's important, very important, because people don't realize half of the things we do, there's always someone or something to prove where we falter and how badly we can falter. Okay? And that is all I can say to those type of things. So, if you're going to send Pampers, if you're going to get clothes, please do not give them clothes, just what you want to throw away. Things are so cheap, you can pick up some things for them. Underwear, bras, those are not things that you just pass on. It's important that you know that. Don't forget deodorant, lip gloss, you know, things for the hair, the combs, the brushes. That's what we do. We fill the basket because I've done missionary work, and I know what it is to pack containers, 53 feet containers, and spend weeks packing. So if you all want to be mission-minded in terms of the people that are here as refugees, give me a shout. We can have a quick Zoom call if you want to see me. Or we could just have a phone call, which is a lot easier, faster. Because it's not, I don't have time for chit chat. I have time to help. I can give ideas and we can quickly brainstorm. 15 minutes is max. You don't need more than that. We can do updates and get things going. So when it comes to our people and our children, find out what your neighbor's children are doing at home. Who's watching them? The oldest one? Do you know when we have our children looking after the younger ones, they get tired. I never had to look after anybody. I had my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, everybody was around. They did their part and, you know, I did my part. I was a child and I behaved as a child. Yeah, I was, you know, and that's how it was. I did childish things until I became grown as I kept growing my teenage years. And as you know, that's how the Bible says. 1 Corinthians. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. But when I became a woman, oh, knowledge is power. So care about those around you, care about your people. Because if you don't care about your own people, nobody's going to be caring about you. It don't make no sense. Jesus made disciples and they followed him. They followed him. They followed the truth in him. They followed the light they saw in him. They followed the glory of him. Take your discipleship and do good with it, so that the blessing of Abraham will fall on you. Because it's important. We have things to do. You know, like the Bible always said, oh, we need more faith. We need God's faith, not our faith. It's God's faith you need, the faith in God. And when you have God's faith, then you'll have belief, right? It's a pistua, according to the word. The Greek word is pistua. You will have belief. And you can do all things to Christ who strengthens you. And I. Doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It's the things that God has given you to do. And once they're done, He's a rewarder. He never lets us children go begging for bread. So think about my African ancestors and how they ask as they sleep, thinking. Those who are looking down, those who have crossed over. The Spirit of God. Think about the 24 elders around God's throne, trying to understand, what is happening on the earth? Why are the young being the way they are? Why are the middle-aged being the way they are? Why are the seniors, the pastors, the prophets, as they call themselves, prophets, the apostles, the pastors, the young ministers, servant ministers? Why? What is going on? Do you pray for the government? Oh, I'm not liberal, I'm not Democrat. The government is on God's shoulder. You better be praying for the government. You better know. So, learn wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. Acquire knowledge, the right knowledge. And let's the righteous life that you said you're living, put it into action so that your brothers and sisters will benefit. You hear about something out there that don't just tell the same people over and over. Let your community know. Listen, when employment equity came in the province of Ontario, I did not know there were so many people that were coming in. Now we're not even Black. I'm yet to see a Black person come into that commission office. To this day, I'm still wondering where they were. We are always so ashamed of all the wrong things. Our thoughts, our thought processes, it is so enslaved that we just formulate barriers and posts for different things. But yet our curiosity will kill us. They want, where you live? What kind of house you got? What kind of clothes? What kind of food? What kind of dishes? Who cares about these things? That's not important. It's what you do for humanity is most important. And if you're so concerned about all these things about me, I pray that you walk with the things that you're going to talk or seek or find, or seek to understand or seek to, or you want to know. So you got a choice. Why carry a burden that you're not able to complete? Some of us carry the wrong burdens. We have our own burdens and we want to take on the burden of the next person because you know what? We're too busy looking in another person's window, not understanding that while you look in my window, you got to pick up my burden the same time you look in. So keep looking in. When you find your burdens too heavy, you know why. Solve issues. That's what we're here for. To solve things, to make things right. And as I'm thinking of those who are having birthdays today, anniversaries, any newborns, those who are having baptism over the weekend, those who are taking baptism courses and marital counseling, stuff like that. Hey, and those who are putting through their applications or for university or put it and waiting for answers, I pray that all is well. Because these are the things that we as children of the Most High God should be concerned about. Why can't you gather up some funds and say, let me take these funds and give it to such and such a person going to college, starting the new year, or even give them a gift card. These are the things we should be doing. You know, when I was younger, I did so much. I was a soccer mom, a dance program mom. I was a community mom. We had Scott Wesley House, Malcolm Community Center available to us through the counselor for that area at the time, Joyce. And we did so much. And we received so much. Even when I was out there in the world enjoying myself, you know, as a child, the girls were never allowed to play mass in my home, but my brothers did. And guess what? Even when I'm here with culture, trying to get, when you leave Trinidad and Tobago or where you left, you want to hold on to something that is cultural to you. So I held on to Caravana, read about what's going on in the community, what they do. And I got involved in one of the organizations, and we had the children involved doing things for themselves, you know, making costume design and little things. It's in the world, but it was a skill that they learn in the world because they need a skill for the world. Okay. The cultural part of it was, you know, I was able to, because at my home I was part of my brother's team of putting together all the beautiful rhinestones for the costumes, you know, that they were depicting or whatever the theme was at the time. So I was there as a little girl, you know, says, don't forget the blue ones, the light blue ones, and whichever ones. And I had my 2 little bins at home, and I was young and I did that. But you know, the things that we do follow us in terms of the sense that you've got a sense of the beauty of what the world is all about. Right beneath all of that, we are never to forget that there is a God above. Because, you know, there's beauty in everything. And you don't want to forget, you know? So that's how it goes. Beauty and love and grace and mercy. Now we pray that Minister Mills' flight and the flight of many of those who are flying and coming in or arriving or taking off, inbound and outbound, it all would be well for them today, you know? I know we had a lot of rain last night, so I don't know what it's like up there, flying with those clouds. It seems as though it's overcast again today. So we give God thanks for where we're at. So when I leave this program today, I pray many of you will sit down and get together, think of that petition, think of putting together food stuff, you know. And on the note of food stuff, when I had my my children's school council duties, because I got in council to see how my children are doing, I was part of the ones that started the breakfast program in Toronto. And do you know, I had the fire department, I had the police department, I had stores, Kellogg's, all the different companies that, you know, supplied. They would send crates and crates to the school, eggs by the dozens, you know, go up to, you call that farm way up north of Brampton there. And we get lots of stuff, the local Loblaws, the local, you know, the stores that we had from before. They were so gracious. It's just a thought. When you think of something that God put into your spirit, follow its pathway and see where you fit in, so that you could be a blessing out there to someone. It's, you know, it's like someone was wrote something, someone that I know, anyway. A lot of times we are busy with our resumes and we want to tell you everybody, I. And I do too, I let you know what I've done. But it's not for any tip of the hat or kudos. It's to let you know that it's possible to do the impossible and to give back and to ensure that you give back. I don't want a long resume that will say, you did this, that. No, because it will take 365 days to read them. So that'd be a full year. So I want to say to people, yes, I've had a lot of experience and expertise, lots of great opportunities and blessed ones too, that I have proven how great God is with his mind and spirit inside of me. And he can do the same for you if you let him. If your vessel is according to his will. I don't know what your vessel's like, but however he wants your vessel, he will let you know. And you know it too. Sometimes we say, oh, I don't know. Yes, you know. Because you know, the thing called conscience, it's always like this. It's like a needle, keeps pricking at you. Yep. So we should have no excuses. As people that know Christ, as people that know better, as people that have suffered through, because our ancestors have suffered, and we down the pipeline have suffered. We work 10 times harder to get what we want, and therefore we need to have it today. So I wore my African earrings just as a symbol to say, you know, God, this is the land. When you look at the land and you listen and you read about the land and how it is, yeah, we need to think about it. He even talked about it in the Bible. Oh, islands, oh, islands. Don't you think he cares? He cares. But do you care for yourself? Do you care about your brother? Do you care about your sister? Well, please, I have lifted up my hands. I have helped, given opportunities that give recognition and change lives in my lifetime. And there's my eyes. I have them too. But I'm not saying them to bring them to make anybody feel bad about themselves, but to let you know that you can do a lot more than you say you are doing. So let us get out there and do what is needed and necessary so that our people would rise properly. Community is unity. That is my motto. It's everywhere. Community dateline is why I put community, because it's not about me, it's about the village. Are you part of the village? Or you live on the edge of the desert and we don't know you exist? When we preach, how do you preach to the village? Retribution? God will. Just do you. Or are you preaching and saying, you know, God loves you? And he knows there are some things in each and every one of us to the end of our days that will not be right. We always have to do correction. We always have to take notes. We always have to look over the exam to see what we're doing. We always have to listen to ourselves to hear how we're speaking. Let the commander-in-chief guide us, because he's a great commander-in-chief and he does awesome things. But most of all, as I'm closing, winding down to the end of the segment, please find ways to get items up to Revival Time Church on Dufferin, the late Pastor James own, you know, or Michael. His wife is Pastor James' daughter, and she's also a pastor. So clap, get busy on it. Don't wait for me. You know how much I've done? I still have so much yet to do. So please take up the baton. It's the relay race, and run with it to the next person, and then you will get it. Have you ever seen pictures where they show you Africans running to get to the next village? Run and get it done. Help your brother, help your sister, help the baby, help the little girl and the little boy who's out here as refugees. They need your help. They need my help. And as I'm putting stuff today, like I had a few conversations with a young lady from one of the churches that I attended, and we were talking about ways. Last night she was down at the JCA, and this morning she's going to buy some stuff again to take up. So you don't have time to do other things, but to ensure that these people are looked after. And don't forget those of us who call Ontario, Canada, and Canada home, and the children are falling behind, the Jane and Finch areas and the other areas that have issues, you know. It's time that we take up that battle and start doing something about it. Because when you start doing something about it, you will get the resources to do the things that you want to do. But don't look at the resources, because from the time some of us hear money, all our antennas reach up. But you know, all the other things that was said was not even heard. So on that note, I leave the rest for you today to ensure. Don't forget, they need things for their beds, because even though they sleep on cots, they need little blankets and pillowcases and pillows and stuff like that. So anything that you add to the Revival Time roster is going to help the future plans, and they plan to keep them as long until they can get somewhere. And I hope the government, just because they heard that many of those politicians today, pray that they will get off, that the Lord will light a fire under them and they will do what is right in his sight for his creation. Okay, so on that note, I pray that you have a great weekend. I pray that you have a blessed weekend, and you see how the month is running by. Oh my God. It's already the 21st. And I pray that for moms, the money that they receive from their child CCTV, yeah, that it's been sufficient and you will use it wisely. Spend it on what it's supposed to be spent for, and the Lord will bless you for the things that you don't have. Have a great day. Have a blessed day, Minister Nusaki, Minister Genesis, Pastor John, and all the other GEM FM programs and panels and host. Have a great and wonderful Friday and a blessed weekend. Don't forget, our brothers and sisters are here and they are out there. Some of us here waiting for homes, but still, we still have shelter. So, food and raiment, think about that. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. See you Monday, God's willing. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
So I lift up my hands, I'm about to praise him.